Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football RPG. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm moving in slow motion, and that's okay. But it's going to be a lovely time. We're going to go over some Dynasty wide receiver rankings. We have both receivers that are already in the NFL and rookies that we're going to go through. So we brought two of the smartest people that I could find other than Evan, because Evan's smarter than me. Rocking the polo as always, Evan. But first, we have Mike Anthony from Toilets to Titles. I need to work on that. Also just finished up the Senior Bowl, and then also from Dynasty Dogs. What else are you working on, Mike?
I got a lot coming out soon that's going to be announced at some point this week. Super excited about that. I appreciate you guys having me on, and the smartest is a very interesting term to use for me, so I appreciate that. That would make my mother happy, but I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, send the episode to your mom. We'd love to have her watch. And then we also have one of the first podcasts that I listened to when I was a little Dynasty starter, Matt Hicks from the Rookie Big Board. How are you, Matt?
And you're still doing it? You started listening to my pod and you're still at it? That's impressive.
I mean, I don't have 81 of my own write-ups, but at Football Guys, we have 122. So you got to catch up.
I'm trying to keep up with the whole staff at Football Guys. I'm hanging in there all right. But yeah, I'm good, man. It's rookie draft season. It's the best time of the year. I absolutely love it.
Yep. So we're just going to hop right into this. Any of the rookies that are here, they are from Matt's recent 2-round mock draft using some landing spots and stuff there. So if you're like, hey, where's Jaden Higgins? He didn't make the cut. I'm sorry. But we do have your heartthrob Jalen Nolan there somewhere, or I can add him. But what's going to work? We got Cornerstone up at the top, Elite, very good. We're going to try to stick to 2 to 3 at the top and then work our way on down. But Matt, you're at the bottom. You can kick us off. Who would you like to start with?
I could pick anybody.
You can pick anybody and put them anywhere. It's a free country.
All right. Well, I mean, you mentioned them, so let's go ahead. Let's start with my guy Jalen Noel at Iowa State.
All right. And that's the one I didn't add yet. So I'll pull a picture real quick while you talk about him. I'm the worst.
Well, as you're adding Jalen Noel there, I'll say, he's one of my favorite sleeper wide receivers in this draft. I've got him as my wide receiver 6 in the rookie rankings. Really clean route runner, nice release, good footwork, clean hands. I think he'll play in the slot in the NFL, but he's a guy who I think out of the slot can, command 75 plus targets, wins before the catch, after the catch. Let's be fair. Let's put him in the good category. I don't want to go too high off the bat, but he's really good. And I think you're going to be able to get him in the second round of your rookie drafts. And you should not shake your head at getting a good player in the second round of your rookie drafts.
Yeah. I was listening to you talk about him a little bit. It's making me want to go rewatch him because I saw both him and Jaden Higgins as these guys like, man, I wish I could take the movement skills of Noel and put them in Higgins' body or the other way around. But I mean, he's an exciting player. He separates well. Evan, who would you like to add to the list?
Oh, man. All right. Well, Mike and I were talking before the show about how my girlfriend's a big Browns fan. So we're going to go with Jerry Jeudy here. You look at the target consolidation that he had. Ooh, okay. So target consolidation that he had in this putrid Browns offense. We're going to put him in mid, Mike.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to be realistic here. All right. He's one of those guys that's more of a win now type of fantasy asset. Intended air yards. One of my favorite things to be able to talk about because they mean absolutely nothing.
The Chris Olave theory.
Yeah, exactly. 1,611 intended air yards this past season. Pretty sure that's top 10. You look at the target consolidation in this offense, what had to have been done, and I mean, it was absolutely there. And can the quarterback situation actually get any worse than it was this past season? I don't know. We're about to find out. If it does, probably look like an idiot here. But if it doesn't, then Jerry Jeudy for the win now teams, fantastic flex wide receiver. That wide receiver 4, being able to go get relatively cheap right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's still believers out there, but you won't find as many as you would in 2021 and 2022. Mike, who would you like to throw on the list?
So I don't know if I saw his picture in your little pool of players there, so I'm sorry if you have to look him up. But we're gonna go with Khalil Shakir. If you have him.
Ooh, I can. Is this Shakir?
No, that's
Doesn't look like him.
Wandell
Third
Robinson.
row? Third row?
Oh Lord, third row. That's Josh Downs. Oh,
On the left? Is that Shakir?
that's Gabe
That's Gabe
Davis.
Davis.
You can tell by his.
What is
the
he still
1-4
doing
touchdown.
in his Bills uniform?
It was a good look. All right, I'll pull him up real quick. Talk to us about why people should be excited about Khalil Shakir.
So I like Khalil Shakir. He's a very safe wide receiver, in my opinion. A guy who's going to get you 10 to 12 fantasy points per game, a good PPR asset, someone Josh Allen just loves. And that's an offense that's kind of wide open, and he's the guy who's been the most successful out of that wide receiver core. So he's a guy you could throw in your flex option or as an emergency wide receiver for like an injury. So I think mid would be probably the best case for him right now.
Yeah. Fun fact, son of a master guns that I have worked with, very good guy. And look, brings in a bunch of targets, tied to Josh Allen. What more could you want from a fantasy wide receiver? I'm just going to take a softball because I'm playing point and trying to figure out where these 60 receivers are. I'm just going to go ahead and take this Justin Jefferson fella and put him in the cornerstone. I think there's
way too elite compared to
I got 3 to 4 other names you can put with him, but if you want points now, you want points later, you want cool jewelry, it's Justin Jefferson with a bullet. Matt, back to you.
Let's put somebody else here in very good. I think from a dynasty perspective, one of my favorite buys this offseason, Garrett Wilson for the Jets. Not getting a ton of love, I've noticed. I've seen him sliding down consensus rankings, but at the end of the day, it's all about volume, guys, and still held really good volume, even with Devontae Adams on the field last year. Good chance they move off of Devontae Adams this offseason, right? I don't think they're going to bring in a playmaker that's going to take a ton of targets away from him. And so he's still wide receiver 9 for me in my dynasty rankings. I'm still in on Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I think we might be bumping him up a tier depending on how these tiers play out. But elite separator, we love the prospect. We don't love the points he's given us so far, but I still believe.
It's not bad though.
We'll
it doesn't
take it.
feel good, but he's been a wide receiver 1, over top 12 fairly consistently. So
yeah, it's just tough to put him in your lineup and be like, yes, I know what I'm getting with Garrett Wilson this week. But Evan, who would you like to throw in there?
Yeah, that was really interesting. Kind of throws off my tiers a little bit because I had Garrett Wilson up in the elite territory here.
Maybe I undersold him. We could bump him up.
Let's bump him up.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Have a good time.
Okay, awesome. Well, cool. That gives me Lad McConkey to go in the very good tier.
Whoa, not elite? What are we doing here?
As
a leader for dads for Lad.
You should be happy with the very good tier. That's a top 3 tier right there.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking an offense that has relatively low passing volume, which unfortunately is going to end up being the Achilles heel. It's what people ended up hating on Justin Herbert for. It's what people hate about Harbaugh going there. It's what makes everybody want to take a running back that goes to the Chargers this offseason when they inevitably draft some running back, probably in day 3 capital, when people are going to be like, that's the guy. So, yeah, they're probably also going to take a wide receiver. They've talked about this wide receiver room needing somebody, but Lad is solidified in this offense. He has his role. Nobody's taking that role from him. Over 1,000 yards, over 1,100 yards as a rookie, which was absolutely huge. Almost a 10 ADOT, which was also a very big number for him, especially coming off of college, where a lot of people were poo-pooing on him because of his lack of production and continuously being dinged up.
Well, you play with Brock Bowers, you're not going to get that many targets. Let's play a quick game about Lad, my heartthrob. He's currently the wide receiver 13 on Fantasy Calc that is pulling real ADP from startup drafts. Mike, we'll start with you. Is that too high, too low, or just right?
Technically too low because I have him at wide receiver 11.
Hell yeah. Evan, too high, too low, or just right?
I have him at 12, so just a
too
smidge
low.
Too low. Yep.
And Matt?
That's high. I have him as wide receiver 20, but that includes this incoming rookie class. So I guess wide receiver 18 without that. I like him. I like him though.
If you guys
I have him at 12 before this rookie class gets input.
Okay. So it might be just right. If you guys want to figure out if it's too high, too low, or just right for me, check out a write-up at Last Word on Sports. I'm going to be doing full Dynasty wide receiver rankings. Matt, how many rookies do you have in front of Lad right now?
2.
All right.
Tetairoa McMillan and Luther Burden.
God, we love the Luther Burden love.
Oh boy, I'm in on Luther Burden, man. I'm glad to see he's getting some love today on the social media circles, but I've been hyping him up for a while. He's 4 overall on my board right now.
I love that. All right, Mike, give us another name.
All right, so since I forgot to say it in the beginning of the episode, go Birds to Evan. So we are going to put Devontae Smith in the very good category. Wide receiver 17 this year, good season, very good season, kind of injured. I really like the fact that they really deployed him out of the slot this season in the Kellen Moore offense. Now that's going to be changing, obviously, but I think they liked what they saw from him in the slot. And I hope that continues because it was fun when he was healthy. And he's one of the most underappreciated wide receivers in football, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's many offenses would use him as a wide receiver 1. It's just they have that pesky guy, AJ Brown. Mike, I feel like I'm listening to old time radio every time you talk. I'm just like, ooh, it's a nice little crackle. Gets me going. It's okay. It's a good time. I'm just going to keep taking softballs here. I'll just keep filling us in at the top. Let's go ahead and throw Jamar Chase up there. Just, got to give the people what they want. He's going to continue to be a wide receiver 1 for as long as he can. And I have no notes. Does anybody have any qualms with Jamar Chase? Wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. You can make him wide receiver 3 if you hate fun, but cool. All right, Matt, back to you.
Hey, let's go back to last year's class, guys. Where do we put Marvin Harrison Jr. at this point? Right?
Lordy. I'll let you decide.
I had to do it. We had to talk about it. I think we should put him in very good. I think that's still a proper spot to put him. He finished as a back-end wide receiver 3 last year, but I think you saw it wasn't totally him. It was a lot of chemistry with Kyler. The volume was still there. I'm kind of leaning into year 2. They get the timing. They sync up a little bit. Marv's a little bit more of a technician where Kyler's been improvising, I think, through a lot of his early career. So I think if we can get these two synced up, he's still wide receiver 12 in my Dynasty rankings. I'm still in on Marv, and I think very good is an appropriate spot to have him.
Okay. We'll definitely take that. I will fight you later about having him under or over Lad, but that's for another day. Evan, who would you like to throw up there?
I'm going to go with last year's class as well and put a Rome Odunze in that very good category as well. Look, you go to the season, you say Keenan Allen had tons of targets. Is he going to re-sign there? I don't know. That's a great question.
Probably not.
Maybe he does, but all odds are pointing to no. Which then you have Rome being able to step up, being able to do more in this offense, being able to look like that true 2 that they were expecting. And it was also kind of crazy when you start looking at the metrics and the numbers on it and watching the tape of how they used DJ Moore, which seemed completely different than how they had used him in previous seasons, which if that's DJ Moore's role moving forward, give me Rome Odunze over DJ Moore for Dynasty, basically hands down.
Okay. I don't hate that. I mean, Rome Odunze had over 100 targets as a rookie. He's playing with a rookie quarterback. We expect a little bit of a dip there. Now they get an upgraded OC. Maybe there's some more targets to go around. Maybe Caleb Williams puts it together. This feels like an offense to buy into. Mike, who you got?
Well, I hope my microphone sounds a little bit better, so I apologize if it's not.
Don't worry about it.
I tried, doing the old Nintendo 64, blowing in it to make it better, but yeah, exactly. We're going to go with Cornerstone, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that's pretty safe to say at this point. The dude's just been a PPR absolute machine, and I have no problem putting him in the Cornerstone spot.
Okay. I think our elite tier is going to be very weird. We're going to have like 5 in Cornerstone and then like 3 in elite. That'll be okay. Good for clicks. I'm going to go ahead, throw another one up in corner. I'm just going to keep taking the softballs, let you guys talk about the hard ones. But CeeDee Lamb, Cornerstone. Dak was hurt. CeeDee was a little banged up. It doesn't matter. He's good at football. I know, Matt, I was listening to one of your recent episodes, and you were like, hey, CeeDee Lamb is my wide receiver 1. I just took him at the 109, and I've enjoyed it ever since. that was a good move. So go listen to Matt.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still reaping in the benefits from that CeeDee Lamb rookie draft season. That was nice. All right, let's go back to the elite category. I feel like nobody's talking about AJ Brown this offseason. I've noticed he's quickly just kind of been forgotten about. He's 8 in my wide receiver rankings. Lots of volume there. I mean, just a really, really strong player. He's got a good quarterback. It's almost boring. He's so like solid and consistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Do you just want the guy that's scoring points and is about to turn 28, or do you want, the mystery box somewhere else? I think people are starting to look to those mystery boxes, and I think that's a mistake.
It could be a boat. It could be a boat.
It could be. But Evan, go Birds. It's your turn.
Go Birds, as always. So I think there's only 5 that deserve to be in Cornerstone. So I'm going to say Puka Nacua going in the elite category here. Yep. I saw that face, Mike. All right. I'm not too crazy right now. So Puka Nacua, they're expected to move on from Cooper Kupp this offseason. So Nacua to the moon, especially if Stafford is going to get that reworked deal that everybody seems to think that he's going to get. You're talking a guy that has over 50% of his yards from the season as yak yards. Love a guy that gets the ball and can absolutely just take it and put it upfield, just be able to get all of those yards after the catch to be able to make the most, pick up first downs at will. What is there not to like about Puka Nacua other than potentially injuries?
I was going to say, is that why you have him in elite and not Cornerstone? We're talking about the wide receiver 2 in points per game last year. We're talking about a rookie record setter that was then broken by Brock Bowers. Like, you just worried the ankles?
It's a combination of the injuries from college, which there were plenty of, the injuries in the NFL, and then Matthew Stafford being on the back 2 of his career.
Okay. I'm open to it. And I like that we're not filling out the Cornerstone too much. But Mike, who you got next?
I'm going to go with Drake London and put him in the very good category. Wide receiver 14 on points per game last year. Wide receiver 2 points per game from weeks 16 through 18 with Michael Penix at the helm. And that's a guy who isn't afraid to air it out. So I'm really in on Drake London for Dynasty and this year.
Yeah. If Penix is what we hope that he will be, Drake London to the moon. Also, Darnell Mooney to the moon. I'm going to go ahead, take the last softball available. Malik Neighbors, 160-something targets as a rookie. All of the athleticism flashed, all of the separation flashed. I think we underrated how good of a separator he would be at the NFL level. And he's elite. He's a cornerstone. He's super young. There's not enough positive things to say about Malik. Cool.
All
Matt?
Let's set the 2025 class in here. I'm going to put Tetairoa McMillan, my wide receiver 1, in the very good tier. He's at the top of the very good tier. Depending on landing spot, when I can get an actual projection for him, maybe he could bump up into that elite group. I think very well this time next year we could be talking about him, but he's kind of right there on the brink of the rankings. Great boundary receiver, awesome athlete, good speed for a guy who's 6'5". I think he's going to have the ability to command 90-plus targets consistently and be like a 7-8+ touchdown a season type guy. So a big ceiling that's going to come with Tetairoa McMillan.
Yep. What are some of those landing spots that would move him from very good to elite?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, if we're looking in the first round, right, at the end of the day, it's all about it's all about volume. So you're looking at Carolina at 8. I know that doesn't sound the flashiest, but that's a ton of volume for me. Vegas at 6 works. New England even at 4 would work well. I think all those teams are realistically in play. I mean, I don't see him falling much further than, I don't even know if he'd get past New Orleans at 9. Like, he's locked into the top 10 for me.
I think New Orleans would be the nightmare scenario because now you're trying to figure out, like, are they worried about Olave's concussions? Is that bumping him down? Are they going to compete? Is Shaheed dead to us? Who's the quarterback? So hopefully not New Orleans, but knowing how they draft, they'll trade up and take him.
Is
If
that
you have
worse
to
than,
ask
is that worse
yourself
than the
if
Jets?
Rashid Shaheed will be a problem, you might have your answer.
And they'll
That'd be
probably
tough.
pay him and kick the can down the road already, and there'll be more in the hole.
True.
Evan,
Is
you asked
it-
if that was worse than the Jets.
Yeah. Do you think
I-
that the Saints is a worse landing spot than the Jets?
I don't know. I am open to hear, like, they're both bad, but I think the Jets are a more predictable team at the draft. Like, we kind of know what their MO is. We kind of know that organization likes to try to build around players that make sense. And I don't think they're going for a second wide receiver that early.
Okay.
But Evan, your turn.
All right. Next up, we're going to continue to hammer that 2024 class with Brian Thomas Jr. in the elite category.
Wait, is this Calvin Ridley? Where's... I got to look for him. Keep talking.
Okay. All right. Well, Mike, you sold me. Last offseason,
You're
you know, I was a doubter. I will fully admit that I was a doubter going into the draft analytics cycle. You convinced me that he needs to be a lot higher up on the board, and he proved everything that I needed to see in Jacksonville. He's getting a new head coach over there that is bringing a hopefully high-powered offense with him. He's getting Trevor Lawrence, hopefully for a full season. I mean, he has other pass catchers there. Sure, you can make that argument that the ball is going to have to be spread around a little bit. But when you have an elite talent, you get the ball to your elite talent. And I think he's in line for 140 plus targets this year.
Yep. This is one of those guys that you can see the volume there, but also he gets 2 catches. There's a chance it's 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. So high floor, high ceiling. I love him. I also love you, Mike. It's your turn.
Well, unlike my microphone that's crapping the bed, I think this 2025 wide receiver is not going to, and that's going to be Luther Burden, and we could put him in the very good category. That's my wide receiver 1 of the class. I think he brings a different element, and especially in this NFL that we're going to, where creating yards after the catch is something huge, getting open quickly is something that they really enjoy. I think Luther Burden's going to be a difference maker at the NFL level.
Yep. I love that 2024, like, the production was a little bit worse. Evan and I just did a profile on him. Everyone's going to look at that and kind of be worried. Just throw on the tape.
I was
watch
going to
him
say,
go.
the film doesn't really look that different to me from 23 to 24.
Nope.
Nothing looks different besides Brady Cook.
It's better, if anything.
Yep. My guy is scooting. But let's go ahead. We'll take... All right, we got Noel there. I am going to take Michael Pittman, who I think is getting a lot of flack, but I think he would be the very top of the mid tier, if not moving into the good tier. He's still getting the volume. He's tied to a quarterback that is the mystery box. Maybe Anthony Richardson turns it around and becomes the guy. Maybe they move on from him this next year. He was playing through a back injury. We should discount that season a little bit and maybe just hope that he can put it back together. This is one of those guys that can move up into the good tier. I think his running mate, Josh Downs, is ahead of him. But I didn't want to leave this episode without shouting out that I think Pittman can have a bounce back this year. Matt, back to you.
All right. First off, I need a correction. Just by the way the tiers are shaking out, let's just scooch Jalen Noel down to mid. Let's just scooch him down there. I think that's more appropriate. I think he's good, but in the context of these rankings, let's get him into the mid. I'm going to put Jackson Smith and Jigba in very good. Nobody's talking about it, man. Like when he came out, the whole narrative, at least this is what I was saying. Maybe I should speak for myself. You got to give him a year, right? Give him a year, let the offense settle, let Tyler Lockett get older, and then he'll really show out. Well, we gave him a year. He finishes wide receiver 9, and nobody's talking about it. Very good. Jackson Smith and Jigba, man. He crushed it this past year.
Do you think he's taken over as a wide receiver 1 in Seattle?
Over the course of the year, volume-wise, probably. I think the production with Metcalf, it's going to be pretty similar. Like I feel like they're going to be both mid, high-end wide receiver 2s consistently with wide receiver 1 weeks in them.
Yeah, I think you just have to bet on who's going to score the touchdowns, and that'll be the one that's higher on the season. But Metcalf, field stretcher, very exciting with the ball in his hands. JSN, he's just such a good separator, such a smooth mover. Great call out. Evan, over to you.
Yeah, we're going to fill out the elite tier because this is the last one I have in there. And Nico Collins should have every opportunity to absolutely smash this season. Diggs is a free agent. Questionable whether that really worked out for Houston in the trade. I mean, Dell is hurt, going to be hurt all season.
Yeah.
You have an accurate quarterback that's considering himself a ball placement specialist. You have somebody who had the production the previous season. You have somebody that should be able to get massive amounts of volume in the offense. Should be wheels up.
Yeah, I think Nico is closer to moving into that cornerstone tier than he is from falling out of the elite tier. Mike, over to you.
So since we took Jalen Noel out of good, I'll put somebody in there. And he's been on a tear, especially towards the end of the season here. Mr. Talladega Nights, I want to go fast himself. Xavier Worthy in the good tier. He from weeks 11 to 17, 15.3 points per game. And then in the Super Bowl and in the playoffs, I believe he had touchdowns in all 3 games, or at least 2 of the 3. So I think this is what we see from Chiefs wide receivers. They kind of get going towards the end of the season, and I can see him continuing on next season.
Yeah. If he continues on the trajectory that he's on, he's going to be a fantasy wide receiver 1, and we're all going to look silly. Or maybe the wheels fall off, and he was just doing that because Rashee Rice was there. And his next biggest target competition was 35-year-old Travis Kelce or the ghost of Juju Smith-Schuster.
I could see a mid-wide receiver 2 finish for him just pretty regularly, and I feel pretty confident in that.
Yep. All right, I'm going to throw another mystery box in there. I'm going to put Chris Olave in the good tier because this season is going to be very indicative of the way we view him for the rest of his fantasy career. If he puts it back together, he's completely healthy. He continues to earn targets at a high clip. He's going to move up into that very good tier. If he sustains another concussion, has some injury problems, or something happens in the Saints offense that makes them somehow worse, he will move down and we will all be sad. So make your picks about what you think Olave could be, because we still don't know in year 3. All right, Matt.
Yeah, Olave, decent buy this offseason. I'm going to go with DJ Moore, and I'm going to put him at the very bottom of very good. I think he deserves. If his teammate Rome is in there, I think he deserves it too. 140 targets last year, led the Bears. And his catch percentage was great. I mean, he was at 70% catch percentage. I think Allen was mid 50s. Rome might have been a little bit higher than him, but he was clearly the most reliable wide receiver. And for a young quarterback to have that chemistry, I think that goes far. He finished as wide receiver 16, I believe, in PPR formats last year. Yep. And there's no reason I would drop his projection this year.
I am addicted to clicking his name in underdog drafts right now. He's going as the wide receiver 16 or 17, which he finished as last year. Maybe Caleb Williams takes a step forward. Maybe Ben Johnson improves this offense. Look, we've been saying, what if DJ Moore had a good quarterback since 2002? So now he might. Evan, it's your turn.
Mike, you love talking about mystery boxes, so I'm going to pull this mystery box away from you and Rashee Rice.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Going to put him in the very good category, which could go either way.
Yeah.
Look, he was on an elite pace with what he was doing in the first 3 games before he got injured. He's still tied to Patrick Mahomes, who every Dynasty gamer is going to fly up the boards any Kansas City Chiefs skill position player. Because of that, he's still there with Andy Reid for the time being. He's got legal issues, questionable. He's coming off of a season-ending injury, makes it a little more questionable as well. But if you can use those things to be able to be to your advantage, to be able to buy somebody that was smashing before the injury, I say go ahead and do it.
Yeah, if you believe in Rashee Rice coming off of injury and no legal problems, and Xavier Worthy's breakout was just because he was gone, sure. But I'm thinking about changing the good tier to just the mystery box tier and just putting Olave, Rice, Worthy. We'll probably have other ones in there, but we'll figure that out later. Mike, it's over to you.
So I want to put this guy in very good, but I don't think you guys will allow me because he's an elder statesman. So we're going to put him in the good tier just because of his age, and that's going to be Mike Evans. Eventually, he has to slow down, but in reality, he's not one of those guys that's going to win with speed or separation. He's just a big bully ball type of wide receiver, stronger than everybody else. I feel pretty confident he's going to be solid till the wheels fall off. So at least another 2 years.
Yep. Just keep buying him on competing teams and then be surprised that he's still good.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're getting into tricky stuff. Let's go ahead and take. Oh, Lord. I feel like we filled out the very good tier a little heavy. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Travis Hunter with the news that he's declared as a corner and will play a little bit of receiver. We'll see how it actually shakes out. I think if he was a full-time receiver, we're putting him in the very good tier, if not already putting him in the elite tier. I'm going to put him in good as much as it pains me to say. You're all making faces, so I'm open to move him.
I'm good with that.
I think it might be high.
Oh,
I think it's definitely high.
Yeah, I think he's
all right.
man.
All right.
You need to be able to play wide receiver to be a good wide receiver.
Oh,
You know what?
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean that's tough if I'm being honest.
You're making a mystery box tier, aren't you?
Oh yeah, here, wait, let me just.
I think he deserves his own tier, Travis Hunter.
Maybe
just
wide
Travis
receiver.
Hunter tier.
Maybe wide receiver tier.
Please.
Welcome to the best
wide
ball
receiver.
tier. Just I don't want to have to think about ever starting him. So just put him on the best ball team and just be like, hey, look, it shook out this week.
Hey. Oh man, I wish that he would play wide receiver for my fantasy teams, but he's a very good corner. We're talking about somebody that, ball hawking, ball tracking, all of the good things that he does on offense. He continues to do them on defense. I don't know how you take him off the field on defense, and I don't know how often you put him on the field on offense. So just wanted to get that conversation out of the way. Matt, over to you.
All right. I feel like nobody's been a hater. I'm willing to step up and be the person.
Perfect.
In the not very good tier, I am still putting Quentin Johnston.
That's
All right.
no
He's a
no
big
complaints.
He's a big sell for me this offseason. You look at his production, it was very back heavy. He's still only had a 60% catch rate. And Harbaugh, I'm telling you guys, one way or another, free agency, the draft, he's getting a tight end on that roster. You look at college Harbaugh, he absolutely loved the tight end. I think we're going to start the season. I think he's going to add another running back as well. He's going to start the season with a more run forward tempo. I think we're going to see Johnson's targets really drop off this next season, I should say.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy that got 91 targets basically out of necessity. If you watch all of his touchdowns, it was broken coverage, wide open, broken coverage. It was just Herbert finding him standing alone, and that's not reproducible. So I will sell him as well. Evan, give us a fun one.
The fun one. No, sorry, Mike. I'm going with the old crusty Mr. Stability for that Broncos offense.
Oh, Lord.
We're going with Cortland Sutton in the mid-tier.
He might be the top of the mid-tier, though, if we expect to step forward from Bo.
All right, so step forward from Bo, as many expect. You're talking about somebody who had 135 targets in this offense. Let's just do that for comparison here. Vele had 55, which I'm pretty sure was the next most in this offense. That is a huge disparity. Yes, we expect them to be able to get a tight end that's going to pull some of the pass catching responsibility from that offense. Yeah, they're probably going to take a pass catching running back in the draft to be able to complement whoever else they take in the draft as a bruiser back.
Yep.
If it's not already estimate, who knows? Sean Payton's a character, to say the least. But you look at what Sutton did. I mean, you're talking about a guy who had 81 receptions, 135 targets for over 1,000 yards. If you're going to tell me that I can get him as a mid option, talking about somebody who's a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 on my team, that's points. And on a competing roster, points are going to continue to win you games by just going and getting those guys for super cheap. I mean, I think Sutton. What are our friends over at Fantasy Calc have him going for?
I'll pull that up real quick. Fun fact: So you said Vele was second on the team in targets. Do you know who it actually was?
Oh, was it okay? Was it
It
Mims?
was Javonte Williams with 70.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I feel like I watched way too many Broncos games, and I had no idea that Javonte had that many targets.
Okay. Well, wide receiver group doesn't get used.
Yep.
We'll rephrase. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. According to Fantasy Calc, he is just over a random 2025 2. If I'm competing, yeah, I'll send my 2
Mid to late, sure.
I don't hate the idea with how exciting this running back class is. It'd be tough to pass up, but it's a risk averse versus a risk seeking decision. Mike, who would you like to bring forward?
Let's put Zay Flowers in the good tier. I wish he was on a more pass-heavy offense because he's an elite separator, good after the catch. Just sometimes his hands are a little inconsistent, but I love Zay Flowers. I just wish he was on a different offense.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have Lamar and Derrick Henry back there, or they draft a running back, get someone else in free agency, they're 400 passes is probably their ceiling, and there's not a lot of volume to go around, and Mark Andrews and Likely are still stealing from him, which is tough. Oh, Lord. I'm going to go ahead and take my super fast boy, Jameson Williams. I'm also going to put him in the good tier. I think the breakout was here. The breakout was real. It was exciting to see. How predictable week after week is his role? Is he ever going to move up into that very good and elite tier? I don't know.
That's a big gamble.
Yeah, it is a big gamble. I bet I'm willing to bet on Jameson Williams as he's willing to bet on himself. Matt, give us another name to bring forward.
Oh, I'm struggling. Maybe you guys can help me with the proper placement. Maybe high mid Emeka Egbuka. I think we need to talk about him. He's my wide receiver 3. I really like him. I think he's going to come in, perform as like a back end wide receiver 2. So like consistent wide receiver 20 type performance, a really solid high floor, low ceiling type guy. Give him 80 targets in your offense. He's going to have a 70% catch rate. I'm excited about him, even though he's not like the flashiest guy to have in your lineup.
He's in the good. He's in the good.
He's in the good tier.
I was going to say, I heard you say high mid, and I was like, I think he's better than that. Like the names around him in the mid tier make me sad. I think he's good.
Okay.
But I also think he'll be a real life wide receiver 2 for a team. And then depending on where he lands, like let's say he magically falls to the Chiefs. Now you have a high volume passing offense that we're excited about. They need that intermediate separator. Now we're talking about wheels up for Egbuka.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good landing spots in the back end of the first round, right? In terms of volume, you have Pittsburgh, you have Washington there, Kansas City. There's plenty of volume to be had in the range he should go.
Yeah.
Talk about my dream landing spot in Washington. As an Eagles fan, I don't want to see it every week because he also played for Ohio State, being a Penn State fan. So that's just all kinds of bad news. But absolutely, from a fantasy standpoint, would love to see him in
such
Washington.
a good fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We are already, I think we're at 30 receivers deep. So this is my reminder. If you're listening this far, be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to go follow Matt over on X. It's at the FF Educator. And follow Mike. I don't have this written down, but it's at Dynasty Dogs.
At Dynasty Dog Mike. Yep.
Heck yeah. Be sure to give them both a follow. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to join the Patreon for Matt, which will be linked below to this episode. Mike, give us another name. Or wait, I'm skipping you, Evan. Don't be sad. It's your turn.
I was going to say, Mike, I know I'm forgettable over here, but
you're not forgettable.
Put me in, coach. Call to the bullpen. Come on. All right. We're going to go T. Higgins in the good tier, which I feel like is kind of spicy, but I also don't think T. Higgins is that good of a wide receiver. I think he is typically what you would consider a wide receiver 2 at the NFL level. I do not think he should be a wide receiver 1 for any NFL franchise. I am honestly perplexed why the Bengals are franchise tagging him, or most likely franchise tagging him. Let him walk. If he can get $27 million a year somewhere else, sure, hold this live grenade. Go for it. He's gonna play 11 games for you a year. Maybe he'll squeak out a 12th game. he's going to be productive in the end zone, and that's going to prop up his fantasy value.
You are so mad at T. Higgins, and I love that. I'm trying to find the highest volume that he's ever had because Joe Burrow's out here. He threw 650 passes this year. T. Higgins got 100 targets. You put a normal volume passing offense in front of him, he's probably not the same guy, but as long as he's where he is, I think we have to rank him a little higher. But the injury concerns are fair. Mike, over to you.
I really want to put this guy higher, but it just hasn't happened yet, and he doesn't get the type of targets that we hope for. That's going to be George Pickens in the good section.
No.
Yeah, we got to put him in the good section. It showed that it was going to start working with Russell Wilson, and then I don't really know what happened after that in the playoffs and everything. It just targets weren't there. They weren't really looking for him. He kind of started to not run routes, as T.O. kind of pointed out. And if T.O. is calling you out, that's not good because diva on diva crime is not something I expected. But I still love George Pickens, but they just need to give him more targets.
Yeah, I wish I knew who the quarterback was. I wish I knew what the receiver room looked like. I wish I knew that George Pickens wasn't a psychopath. I don't know any of those things, so I think good might be a little too high. As much as that hurts me to say.
There's a little too much dog in that dude. A little too much. You need to just tone it down slightly.
All right. We are getting to scary hours, but I'm going to take DK Metcalf. I'm just going to throw him up in the good tier. I think he's towards the top of it. I think there's an argument for him to be in the very good tier. There's an argument for him to be just in the good as long as he continues to play. Physical freak, big touchdown upside. He's not going to be a high volume guy, and that's going to be hard to predict week after week. Matt, we are getting deep. We got 20 minutes. Let's keep going.
All right. Let's scroll down.
Oh, yeah. Just look for some names. Here, I'll zoom in.
How
deep, there you go.
How deep did you go with the rookies here? I'll pivot off the rookies here. How about Jordan Addison? We haven't talked about Addison. I think he should be in the good tier because he's right there next to J-Mo in my rankings and somebody else who I saw before. Almost 100 targets last season. I believe it was 99. 9 touchdowns. He's a really strong player. And I think that the likely transition to J.J. McCarthy is only going to help him out. I'm excited about Jordan Addison. I think he's a real value right now.
Yeah. People aren't giving him the credit that he deserves. He was great coming out of college. He's only shown it at the NFL, and for some reason, we just keep forgetting about him because Justin Jefferson is cool and we love him. Evan, keep going.
See, this is one where I am hitting a perplexion. Tyreek.
Oh, no. Oh, Lord.
He's a mystery box this offseason because we don't know how that offense is going to look. Jalen Waddle has not looked or produced like he was expected to. I would say in the top end of the, middle of the good. Top end of the good.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in the very good category anymore. Mm-hmm. The offense is too much of a mystery box. It's too many dump offs. Tua is way too much of a mystery box at this point to be thinking that Tua is going to be able to get the ball to Tyreek, let alone Waddle, let alone Jonnu, if ends up sticking around there, let alone Achane coming out of the backfield. That's too many mouths on a questionable offense with questionable play calling this past season. We remember 2023. We remember Tyreek when he was on the Chiefs. Is he that same player? Not anymore. It sure doesn't seem like it. Maybe I'm going to look stupid in a year, and we're going to come back to this and say, wow, that was horrible. He smashed in 2025. That'd be great because I have him on a lot of teams, but not expecting that.
Yeah, you don't really expect a mystery box with a 31-year-old wide receiver, but that's where we're at. He was outside the top 30 in points per game. The Dolphins offense looked strange at times. I don't know what to do with him. I'm probably just holding him on any rosters that I have and trying to buy low during my rookie draft, which is when those picks have the most value. Mike, let's keep rolling.
I'm going to go off the board here on this one as well, so I apologize, Mike. And
It's
it's
all
a
right.
guy I'm pretty high on in this rookie class from 2025. That's going to be Jalen Royals.
Oh, that's who I was gonna pull.
Oh Lord,
Yeah.
you're gonna make me.
Oh,
I kind of want to. I want to put him in the mid tier because he's a real mystery box coming out of Utah State, and he kind of reminds me of a Khalil Shakir almost, just better vertically. Similar build, similar good after the catch, similar at getting open quickly. I really like Jalen Royals. I think that would actually be a good Pittsburgh Steeler wide receiver too. I would like that in the second round for him.
Oh man, I hate to be the guy that is the lowest on him. I didn't see it with Royals. I'll rewatch because I trust both of you, but I watched it and I was like, he plays receiver sometimes.
Time out, Mike. You trust both of them, but 3 months ago when I mentioned him, you didn't trust me.
I watched him because of you.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the reason
All
that I was early. I was like, okay, let me figure out what this is. But I'll give him a rewatch. I think I watched 2 or 3 games, and I was
Boise,
like,
you got the Boise game on there? I thought he looked really nice in the Boise game.
He also looked really good at the Senior Bowl. He was at 80%, I think he was for health wise, and he was still getting open regularly.
Yeah, I bet he cooks in isolation drills.
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah, nice.
He's gonna have some great TikTok releases, but all right. So you did that. I'll just go ahead.
You did that.
Oof.
Oh man, I'm gonna just take. Oh Lord, we're getting gross up in here. Let's take Devontae Adams and just have a discussion about him real quick. Where is he going to play?
Wherever Aaron Rodgers goes.
Is he still the top target earner that we once thought he was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So then he's good.
he's got it. At least good. Yeah.
Mhm. I think that's fair.
He's got one more season of good in him.
Yep. I think this is a guy that you just wait until the first month if you have him, and that's when you sell him if you're rebuilding. If you want to start a rebuild and he's on your roster now, do not sell him. Hold him for a little bit. Let him score some points. I don't know if he's going to be the piece that gives you a championship anymore, but he can be a very firm wide receiver 2 on volume, and more volume. Matt, who you got?
Probably the biggest late season riser in the 2025 class, Matthew Golden.
Yep.
Let's put him up in good. I really like Golden. He separates well. He's fast. He's got clean hands. You know, I don't think he's an X. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be the top volume guy in an offense, but you know, he's the type of guy, you know, if you're kind of talking like, think about Jordan Addison, right? If he's got a top guy playing opposite of him, pulling top coverage, I mean, he could just absolutely cook underneath.
Yep. If you watch the Georgia game and then the Arizona State game,
Yep. Yeah.
those 2 games are the entire thesis around Matthew Golden being a first-round wide receiver, and we need to just listen to the buzz and enjoy it.
Yeah. And he has more, you know, like back end of that 2024 season. Go back to Houston. I mean, he looks fantastic in Houston. He just had a really slow start to the 2024 season. That's the only reason I think it took us so long.
Were you guys surprised he came out?
I was surprised. Yes.
Yeah. I thought he was going back. Yeah.
But we also, Evan and I talked about this on our deep dive with him, a little like try to read the tea leaves. Why would he declare? Probably because he got good news.
Yeah, he's probably going round 1. Yeah.
All right. That is a late season riser. Who is next? I have lost track because I'm trying to pull pictures.
It should be me, Mike.
All right. I promise I don't keep getting you on purpose.
That's okay. You know, I get enough time with you as the co-host here, so I'll accept being passed over a couple times. We're gonna go Terry McLaurin in the good tier. Finally had that season that everybody wanted. High volume offense, still clearly the one in that offense. There's no reason for him to take a step back in the second year with Jaden Daniels getting a full off season to be able to get in rhythm with him. We still have a large ADOT over 13. That's huge. Double-digit touchdowns, which some people are going to say, oh, there's going to be touchdown regression. Okay, take away a couple touchdowns. He's still a double-digit touchdown guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he got absolutely stonewalled by Eagles top corner, Quinyon Mitchell.
All right.
Quinyanamo Bay.
All right. That's enough Go Birds talk for the evening. Evan, would you rather have Terry McLaurin or a late second?
Oh, Terry, easily. I know,
All right.
Mike. Yeah, don't remind me of that deal.
That's a trade we made before we knew Jaden Daniels was good, but I always knew.
Before
Mike,
Jaden Daniels was even drafted there.
I know, it was wild.
You made it in 2021 before you knew he was good. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. All right, Mike, over to you.
So he kind of just took my idea there. So I have to go into a different realm. He may get paid by his same team. He may go somewhere else and be still a decent wide receiver too. And that's going to be Chris Godwin. And we could put him in the. Are you guys okay with top mid or good?
Mid, probably.
I'm gonna say
Very
high
top
mid.
of very top of mid.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well. He was on a tear until he got just absolutely destroyed. And he's just a very solid wide receiver option. I think he's going to get paid somewhere. I would like it to be back in Tampa Bay because they're trying to win now. And he's only 28, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still got a few more good years left.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted trying to type away on my keyboard. I think that he's going to continue to be good if he comes back from this injury. It's just tough to see a guy that was on such a tear go down that hole again. I'm just going to take the exact same player, but a little bit younger, Brandon Ayuk. Do we think that he's good because we think he recovers and is fine? Or do we think he's top of mid, just above Godwin because of injury concerns, doghouse concerns, things like that?
I think he's in the good because of opportunity. It's still an effective, efficient offense that can still distribute the ball around. You're still going to have Kittle there vacating everything in the middle. I mean, he's going to absolutely eat all of that up. Christian McCaffrey, we'll see. That's a mystery box out of the backfield for what he's going to do in the reception game. Pearsall, people are steaming up Pearsall right now. What does that turn into? Who knows?
But I almost said Greg Jennings, but Juwan Jennings too.
Yeah.
Juwan,
Yeah.
Third and Juwan. But all right, Matt, over to you.
All right. I don't know if this is fair based on there's a couple people above him, but when I see as a category, just like I'm reading that as like question mark, like I'm not sure what to do with this guy. Jaden Reed. Man, I have no idea what to do with Jaden Reed because I love the player. I think he's got really good talent. You look at this past season, he gets less targets, more yards, but really a huge chunk of his fantasy production came in like 2 or 3 games. Mm-hmm. It was so inconsistent. So he's like the most confusing guy because you got to have him. You know, you can't. It's tough to not start him, but you never know when he's going to go off. I'm just gonna. I don't know. I don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, I actually almost put him in the please play wide receiver tier because I just wish they would let him play wide receiver. Like stop running random little motion to a quick out into a lateral. Like just play receiver, please.
I'm here for that.
All right.
Is there any logic to putting all of the Green Bay wide receivers?
Yes.
In that,
I was going to do that here.
Put them all in.
Just put them all in there.
I love that.
Call us Josh Jacobs. They're all us.
Oh Lord, I'll pull more pictures of them while you pull your guy, Evan.
Yeah, that entire Green Bay wide receiver crew is so confusing to me. Like, let's just add another wide receiver this draft cycle to it, just to have pure chaos.
Might as well.
Okay, so my guy that I'm gonna have, because I was seeing the tier as we have no clue what to do with them as well. So I'm going to put Jalen Waddle in there because I have no clue what to do with Jalen Waddle. Like you look at the college pedigree, you look at the Alabama profile, you look at what he did way back when, and then you look at what he's done these past couple seasons, and it's not inspiring to say the least. He hasn't developed into the receiver that everybody wanted him to be. Tyreek is still there. Even though we say that he's on the decline, Waddle's not stepping up as the clear replacement for Tyreek in that offense, I mean, I just have a hard time buying any Waddle. Even if you were to tell me that I can get Waddle for a mid-second, I don't know if I'm pulling that trigger right now, Mike.
Ooh.
And I feel like that's pretty spicy because people would take that in a heartbeat.
That is spicy. Jalen Waddle, currently wide receiver 28 from our friends over at Fantasy Calc. I understand the concerns, and I think he's firmly in the tier, but I think we're going to have to explain what the tier means when we screenshot this for Twitter.
Just move it up below the mid tier so that we get less hate, please.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
Speaking of we're going to put another wide receiver in the category, and it's not really any fault of his own. He's just a Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events, and that's going to be Tank Dell. He just cannot stay healthy, and it's not always just like blocking on the goal line at 5'8", 110 pounds soaking wet is just an asinine call. I just really like Tank Dell, the football player, so I think is fair.
Yep. All right, and I'm going to take one more rookie. This is somebody that I like a lot. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. So Alec Manor. There are times where I watch him and he looks like the second coming of A.J. Brown. There are times where I watch him and he just doesn't exist. Like he just forgets how to play wide receiver. So if we can just take the good Alec and put him on the field always, he's going to shoot up boards. Or he can go just be a very good blocking wide receiver for a team and stick around the league for a while. That is someone that I'll be prioritizing in the third round of my rookie drafts if draft capital puts it so that you can't get him. But if he gets first or second round draft capital, I'm going to have to pull the trigger sooner. At that point, I'll probably draft a running backs. Cool. All right, we are going to do one more run through. But while we do that, shout out what you're working on, where they can find you, give your name, no explanation. They'll figure it out later.
I will say I'm in on Ao Minor. I think he's got a ton of upside. I think he's a guy who might slide even to the third round of rookie drafts just because he's a Stanford wide receiver. And you mentioned sometimes he disappears. That's called playing in the Stanford offense, right? And so I think that would explain a lot. Catching balls from Ashton Daniels. So I'll finish it up with a rookie because that's my focus over at the Rookie Big Board, patreon.com/Rookie Big Board. Mike mentioned it off the bat. We got over 80 rookie profiles finished already. Rookie rankings, dynasty rankings, Devy rankings, all that good stuff. Discord, really good YouTube page, I think, if you're already on YouTube. So YouTube, just Rookie Big Board. Lots of good content focused on the rookie class. We've been scouting him for almost a full year now. So let's finish with a rookie here, Xavier Restrepo. Let's put him in the mid tier, and that's mid out of respect. I feel like that should be in parentheses, like mid out of respect. So Restrepo, really good possession wide receiver. I think the reason a lot of folks get excited about him is because he's really good over the middle of the field. Like he's a physical guy. He holds on well through contact. I really like his release. I think he separates well with his first step. He's got physical hands. I just think, again, not a super high ceiling guy, but being a slot wide receiver isn't a damning projection anymore, folks, for a fantasy purpose. That can be a solid volume situation. So I'm in on Restrepo as well.
Yep. I know Evan is hot and bothered by Restrepo. Evan, give us a name and tell the people where they can find you. You have a Twitter now. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Over at the FFRPG Twitter handle over here. Trying to manage that for Mike so that he doesn't have to deal with as much hate coming to this account. Let him be able to do his own thing. But we're going to go with a guy that is here in Nashville now. We're going to go with Calvin Ridley. You look at this offense, everybody in town thinks that they're going to take a quarterback. We're going to put him in the mid tier. So if he gets a quarterback, pretty much anybody with an arm is better than Will Levis right now. It's pretty rough streets. No fan wants him to be the quarterback next year. No fan wants any quarterback besides one of these quarterbacks in this draft for some unknown reason to be the franchise quarterback for them. New stadium's coming. Got to fill seats, so guess you got to take a quarterback. But Calvin Ridley, Air Yard King once again, Mike. You know me. Also, over 1,000 yards this past season, over 100 targets. Clearly the top target earner in that offense. Oh man, that next wide receiver, Nick Westbrook-Akine. Oh boy.
Yep.
Tyler Boyd.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, he's pretty much alone in that room, alone in that offense. You got two great backs being pass catching backs out of the backfield, which hopefully will serve whatever quarterback they take very well.
Yep. Lots to say about Calvin Ridley. Not a lot of fun things to say, though. Mike, where can they find you, and who do you want to talk about?
So you can find me on X at Dynasty Dog Mike. The podcast is on all major platforms. We are going to be having a new home soon, so stay tuned for that. And Toilets of Titles is where I write my articles. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this next one. We are really kind of like, praying, but I don't really do we want to leave QJ alone in just the bad tier, or do we want to add somebody? Okay, leave him alone. Okay. So let's add another to the mid tier. And it's just a guy who just is very cheap to buy, and he's perennially close to a wide receiver too. And that's going to be Jacoby Myers from the Vegas Raiders. I think they're going to get an upgrade at quarterback one way or another. Can't talk. And Pete Carroll is just a really good offensive head coach. So I'm still in on him.
All right. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and take Josh Downs, and I'm going to leave it up. Comment below, good or mid. I'm going to throw him at the bottom of good because I do think he's a tier above Michael Pittman. That does it all. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to follow the lovely people that joined us. Guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, man. It was a blast.
Cool. And we will catch you next time on Fantasy Football RPG. Bye. I love you. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the Goblins get you.